All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome all to episode 19 of the PCBC. This has been waiting for over a week or two now since Gannon decided to make the Elite Eight. But anyways, welcome to the final episode of the 23-24 season for the PSAC basketball season. Once again, I'm your host, Noah Sipper. We got a lot to cover in this episode, not a lot of time to do it. So this is probably going to be a very long episode, so just bear with me. We're at 9 o'clock now. Let's get this party started. So Gannon decided to win the Atlantic region, which means that I had to push back this episode to today. Well, depending on when Gannon was going to decide to lose, it decided to be today because Gannon lost in their Elite Eight matchup against California State University, San Bernardino, losing by 34 points. Gannon had easily its worst matchup of the worst game of the entire season, and it came at the worst possible time. For Cal State, San Bernardino, their top scorer was Cedric Altman, who had 37 points in 33 minutes. 13 and 18 from the floor, 7 out of 10 from 3. He had all 7 of their 3-point field goal attempts. Leandrew Knight, 38 minutes, 12 of 13 from the floor, 29 points with 9 rebounds. They had 2 players. They almost had 3 players with 10 rebounds. And then their other double-digit scorer was Robbie Robinson, 33 minutes, 6 out of 16 from the floor, 12 points, 11 rebounds. Gannon's top scorer was the PSAC and Atlantic Region Tournament MVP, Joshua Mahafu. The Canadian had a pretty good season until, and he still had a great season no matter what, but today was just an off day. He shot 3 of 12 from the floor, had 19 points, and 13 of his 19 points coming from the free throw line. Zach Hobbs with 12 points, 4 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3. Cal State, San Bernardino shot 40 of 73 from the floor, 40 out of 73 from the floor, so over 50%. 7 of 16 from three-point range, 12 of 17 from the free throw line, 99 points, 59 rebounds in this game, 16 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks, 20 turnovers, surprisingly, 21 fouls. Gannon only had 9 turnovers in this game, but only had 30 rebounds, 12 assists, 15 steals, 1 block, and 14 fouls. But Gannon shot 19 of 68, or about 28% from the floor. Pretty abysmal by Gannon standards. 4 of 16 from three-point range, 25%, and 23 for 29 from the free throw line. The other games that happened, so the first game was Gannon versus Cal State, San Bernardino. Our second game was Southern New Hampshire taking on Nova Southeastern. This game was really surprising until the end of the second half. Nova Southeastern coming in as the defending national champions from their 39-0 season last year. They had 2 losses coming into this Elite Eight. The Sharks end up winning 68-60, barely hanging on against Southern New Hampshire. In the first half, Southern New Hampshire outscored them 42-28. In the second half, Nova Southeastern, located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they outscored them 40-18 in the second half. Southern New Hampshire shot 40% from the floor, 40.7% from 3, and 73% from the free throw line. Nova Southeastern only shot 32.7% from the field, 22% from 3, and 74% from the free throw line. They took 38 free throw attempts, compared to Southern New Hampshire only had 15. 16 total personal fouls for Nova Southeastern, 26 for Southern New Hampshire. Then the third game that just concluded about 15 minutes ago, as I was about to film this, the number 1 team in the nation, the Minnesota State Mankato Mavericks, winning 98-70 over Ferris State. Minnesota State dominated this game. They have one of the best players in the country. I'm trying to remember. I guess he's not. Where is he at? Anyways, Kyrese Willingham, 25 points. They had an incredible game. 58.5% from the floor, 61% from three, only 53% from the free throw line. Ferris State shot 38.46%, 20 from the floor, 25% from three, 60% from the free throw line. And that was your 1-8 matchup. And then the game that's coming up shortly, most likely will be going on as I am filming this. 4th seed West Texas A&M against the 5th seed University of North Georgia. So for the first time since 2019, the Atlantic Region winner did not make it to the Final Four. In 2019, you had Mercyhurst, who lost to Northwest Missouri State, which started a three-peat for the Wildcats before losing last season in the tournament, which was really surprising. 2020 with COVID, 2021, Mercyhurst was basically the only team that played in the PSAC that season. And they made it to the Final Four and lost. 2022 was IEP. They lost in the Final Four to Augusta. 2023 last season, West Liberty, the winners of the Atlantic, go all the way to the national championship game before being stopped by Nova Southeastern. And Nova Southeastern finishing a perfect 39-0. And then this year, Gannon, led by the former Nova Southeastern assistant and should have been the NABC All-Region Coach of the Year. It should have been no decision, Jordan Fee. Unfortunately, they lost. And they lost in the Elite Eight. So, congratulations to Cal State, San Bernardino, Minnesota State, and Nova Southeastern as of right now. So, Minnesota State will face the winner of the matchup coming up shortly. And then Cal State, San Bernardino will take on Nova Southeastern. So those games will occur on Thursday. As of right now, no times are in slot for that moment. So with that being said, let's take a look. We're going to be looking here at some interesting news that happened coming today and over the course of the last couple of days. Ethan Porterfield has been named to the Reese's Division II All-Star Game in Evansville, where the Elite Eight is currently going on right now. He is the 6th player in IEP since 2011 earned that nomination. Darrell Webb, 2011. Ashton Smith, who was just recently inducted into the IEP Hall of Fame in just last week. He was at the All-Star Game in 2012. Marcel Suberbele in 2014. Brandon Norfleet in 2016. And then Sean Dale Jones last year. And now Ethan Porterfield going to be playing on Friday in Evansville. He also earned a NABC All-District First Team odds on Monday, making the 9th straight playing season that the Crimson Hawks have had at least one player on the NABC First Team. The Sharon native finished his incredible career with 112 wins, 3 conference championships, 2 tournament MVPs, PSAC tournament MVPs, 2nd in all-time scoring, 1st in field goals made, 5th in career 3-point field goals made, 3rd in rebounds, 2nd in blocks, and tied for 3rd in career games. So looking at the lineup for the All-Star Game from the East, you have Jalen Alston, who was the first-team All-Atlantic from Winston-Salem State, Tyler Arbuckle from St. Anselm, Eddie Colbert III from Charleston, believe he was a first-team All-Atlantic as well, Elijah Comathier from Emporia State, KJ Jones II from Emmanuel, Donnell Nixon II from Wingate, Ramar Reed from St. Michael's, Malcolm Wiflow from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical, and then, of course, Ethan Porterfield from IUP. Head coach for this game will be Dwayne Osborne, who was the NABC All-Region for the Atlantic Region Coach of the Year, who I think should have gone to Jordan Fee, but more on that later. The NABC for the West, Jacob Ollimandan from Cal State Dominguez Hills, Jesse Bingham from Indy. Drew Blair from Minnesota Duluth, arguably one of the best players in the country. Could win National Player of the Year in D2. That was the guy I was thinking of, by the way. I thought he was on Minnesota State. Kyle Greeley from St. Martin's. Buan Hendricks from Lee. Jake Kilmer from Upper Iowa. Dimitros Klonouras from Cal State East Bay. Matthew Ragsdale from Black Hills State. And Kendrick Tucci from University of Indianapolis. So Indy has 2 players on the team. Their coach, Bubba Smith from Lee, will be the coach of that game. So congratulations to Ethan Porterfield on that. For the NABC, he just missed being an All-American this year, which I thought he was going to be an All-American. Earns his second All-Region nod, as he was also first-team All-PSAC this year. He was joined by the All-Land District by Eddie Colbert III, KJ McClurg, Joshua Mahafo, and Justice Schultz. Porterfield and the rest of the first-team honorees are now eligible for All-American consideration. KJ McClurg and Joshua Mahafo were on that list for All-Americans. This is the 9th straight year and the 12th time in the last 14 seasons the IEP has had at least one player on the NABC first team. You should take a look for the Atlantic All-First Team. No surprises here on this list. Eddie Colbert III from Charleston. KJ McClurg, who was the Atlantic Region Player of the Year. No surprise he was on the list. Josh Mahaffa from Gannon. No surprise there. Justice Schutz from Lock Haven. Good to see him on that list. Nathan Porter from IEP. So those 5, no surprises. Second team, Jalen Alston from Winston-Salem State. Matt Dade from Millersville. Marcus Johnson from Wheeling, who actually I believe is transferring as we speak. There's a lot of players on the list of being transferred, and I think he's one of them. Lakeem McGailey from East Stroudsburg and Anthony Pittman, who had a phenomenal final game for West Virginia State, makes the final spot for the second team. Coach of the Year, Dwayne Osborne from Charleston. Really, as I said, really questionable. I mean, Charleston had a phenomenal season, but compared to what Gannon was going through, I thought this was about as easy of a win for Jordan as it was going to be. But unfortunately, I guess the NABC decided to pick someone else. Really surprised that he did not win Coach of the Year. That he did not win that. That was really surprising. Let's see. All-American status. Taking a look at the All-Americans, Drew Blair, as I said, was on that list. Yeah, that was no surprise there. And I think that Drew Blair will win that the Trevor Hudgens Award. I don't know who's going to win it at this point, but it just feels like there's something that's going to happen with seeing what the tournament goes on. Let's take a look here. So yeah, Gannon did not. So wow, so Gannon did not finish number 1 in scoring. That's surprising. East Stroudsburg was 7. That's crazy to think about. Let me see. Can't even find it now. All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, first team, the All-American team. This was Luke Anderson of Florida Southern, Trevor Baskins of Colorado Mesa, Drew Blair, Minnesota's Duluth, Frank Champion from North Georgia, Jeremy Dent Smith, Cal State Dominguez Hills, Wes Streamer from Northwest Missouri State, Jake Kilmer from Upper Iowa, Zoddy Jackson, West Georgia, KJ Jones II from Emmanuel, Zach Lepet from Bentley, KJ McClurg from Cal, Josh Mahaffa from Gannon, James Patterson from St. Thomas Aquinas, Robbie Robinson from Cal State San Bernardino, who had a really good game today, Milos Visitek from McKedry, and then Larry Weiss from West Texas A&M. So big matchup coming up here shortly. Frank Champion from North Georgia taking on Larry Weiss from West Texas A&M. So that'll be a really interesting matchup to look at. With that being said, we go through each of the teams in the PSAC as we get to the conclusion of this season. Now, all teams have finished their season. So really interesting to see what happens there. So let's just go from the bottom and we'll work our way through the top. So let's start with Kutztown. Last season, they finished 11-17 with a 10-12 record in conference play. Barely missed out on the playoffs. This season, they dropped 2 spots to dead last with a record of 4-24 and 3-19 in conference play. They dropped 7 losses. They dropped 7 losses overall in that category, and they also dropped 7 losses in PSAC conference play. At 8, we have Bloomsburg. No surprise, they were in the bottom 2, but a better season than they had last season. They also finished 3-19 in conference play, so 2 more wins this season, and they won 4 more games than they did last season. They were 1-25 last season. They finished 5-23. Overall, they finished in their last 2 seasons in conference play a woeful 4-38. 4-40 in their last 2 seasons in the PSAC. So, yeah, that's been pretty abysmal, to say the least. At 7 was Shippensburg, as I said before, biggest dud of the entire season for the PSAC. They went from 16-6 in conference play to an abysmal 4-18 in conference play, so 12 loss difference there. 19-11 overall in the season. They went 8-20 this year, so an 11 loss difference this year. At 6 was Mansfield. They were 8 last season, so Shippensburg dropped 5 spots. Bloomsburg actually stayed it. Bloomsburg moved up 1 spot from last season. Mansfield moved up 3 spots from last year. Mansfield was 2 spots. Mansfield was 8th last season. 5-17, 6-20. They had 1 more win this year, and they went 8-20 in conference overall. So roughly where they were last year, but just a lot of things happened so that Mansfield could get in. Shepherd was 6th last year in PSAC East. They finished 5th this year. Shepherd went 11-11 last year. They finished 10-12 this season in conference play. The regular season 14-15. This year 13-15. That was in the regular season. I think they went 13-16 overall. So they didn't count the other ones. And then Mansfield finishing 8-21 on the season. 4th was Westchester. They finished 2nd last year in the PSAC East. They were 16-6 and 21-8 overall last year. This year they went 19-11 overall, 15-7 in conference play. 3rd was East Stroudsburg, so no change there. They went 15-7 last year in conference play. This year 18-4, so 3-win difference there. 23-9. They went 25-5 this season. So a little bit better of a season this year. Barely missed out on the Atlantic Region Tournament. 2nd place was Millersville. They finished 4th last year, 15-7. Millersville also went 18-4. They were 18-11 last year. This year they went 24-7 before losing in the PSAC semifinals to Gannon, and then they lost to West Liberty in the quarterfinals of the Atlantic Region. And then number 1 was Shippensburg last year. This year was Lock Haven. They went up 4 spots from last season. Lock Haven had a second half collapse. They were 12-10 and 17-12 overall last season. They were 18-4, so 6 more wins this year in the conference, and 21-8. They were 17-12 last season, so 4 more wins overall. They lost in the PSAC semifinals, a team I thought was going to be a lock after they made the semifinals and almost beating Cal. I thought they were going to be a safe pick to make the Atlantic Region tournament. Barely, they just missed out. Let's go to the West. Dead last. Last year was Clarion. We'll get to later. The team that had the biggest drop in terms of where they were projected at this season. Okay, so that's why I had them ranked. So if we go by the PSAC East projected standings that was before the season began, it kind of goes like this. Mansfield, 9th was Mansfield. They finished 6th. 8th was Bloomsburg. They finished 8th. 7th was Kutztown. They finished 9th. 6th was Lock Haven. They finished number 1. 5th was Shippensburg. They finished 7th. 4th was Shepherd. They finished 5th. 3rd was Millersville. They projected 2nd. 2nd was Westchester. They finished 4th. And then number 1 was East Stroudsburg, and they finished 3rd. In the West, Pitt Johnstown was projected to finish 5th. They finished 9th and dead last after a pretty decent season. They finished 3rd last year in the PSAC West, 15-7, and had an 11 loss difference in that category this season. And 14 less wins, and 14 less wins this year than they did last year. Last year they won 20, went 20-10, made the Atlantic Region tournament, got blown out by West Liberty. This year 4-18 in conference play, 6-22, and that included losing their best player, Andrew Shaw, halfway through the season before transferring to West Liberty halfway through the season. 8th place was Gannon, 3-23, 3-19 conference play. They ended up finishing number 1 in the PSAC West, and they finished number 1 overall in the PSAC tournament. We'll get to them here in a minute. At number 8 was Clarion. They finished dead last year. They were 3-24 and 1-21. This year had a big jump in rebuilt. They went 8-20 on the season and 6-16 in conference play. But unfortunately, a lot of their players have been transferring as of late. Cam Kearney, one of them. There's a lot of big names on the list. We'll be getting to them here momentarily. Cam Kearney is one of the guys on the list. Steve Kelly, who was their vocal leader, he also is gone as well. Number 7 is Edinburgh, 7-21 on the season, 5-17 last year. This year 7-20 last year, 5-17 in conference play. This year, 7-21 in season, 6-16 in conference play. Their best scorer was best player Bernie Blunt in his first year at Edinburgh, coming from Quinnipiac 2 seasons ago. Played at Harecombe Community College, which Chucky Humphreys played at a long time ago. And then he came to Edinburgh this season. He is also on the transfer portal list of players, so big name to watch out for. Another big name, Cam Kearney, and then Bernie Blunt's another big name we'll be looking for during the summer coming up. Number 6, Seton Hill. Last year they were 5th at 11-11 in conference play, finished 16-13 on the season in 22-23. 23-24, they finished 6th, 11-11 with a 16-13 record. So identical record from last season. 5th, Mercyhurst. They finished 2nd in the conference in the division at 18-4 in conference play and 25-6. Lost in the PSAC championship game, and then I believe they lost in the first round last year. So either first round or I think they lost in the second round to West Liberty in the round of 32. But anyways, Mercyhurst this year 11-11 in conference play, 15-16 overall in the year. IUP finishing 4th. They were the Atlantic Region runner-ups last year. Almost went back-to-back Atlantic trips to the Elite 8 last season. Went 32-2 last year before losing to 21-1 in conference play. Their only loss was an year at Mercyhurst last season in 22-23. This year, not so much. Losing Shondale Jones, Tommy West-Lyman, and Dave Morris, 68% of their scoring from the 22-23 season. Hurt them a lot this year. Ethan Porterfield almost becoming IEP's top program scorer of all time. They finished 17-13 on the season and 13-9 in conference play. And IEP's 13 losses are the the third most losses in the Lombardi era in 18 years at IEP. Hard to believe. In their first double-digit lost season since 2008. And this is a big offseason coming up for IUP. They just lost, of course, Easton Porterfield, KJ Rhodes, Bryce Radford, and Josh Pundno to graduation. And they just lost 3 transfer guys in Dolan Waldo, Jordan Lambert, and one of their starters in Jalen Stewart. So right now they have 8 roster players and 1 incoming recruit from Kiski School and Ian Herring. This is a huge offseason coming up for IUP. This could really be a make-or-break offseason for IUP. And rumors are going on right now that Tommy Wessel-Lyman is potentially on the verge of potentially coming back to IUP for his senior season. So time will tell if that is going to be the case. SRU last season, they finished 6th at 11-11 in conference play, 17-12 overall in the season in 22-23. This season, with adding new guys like Maseo Austin and Ike Herster, and key guys stepping up like Jomo Goings, SRU has a very good-looking roster for next season with a good duo pair of redshirt juniors and Ike Herster and Jomo Goings. SRU finished 16-14 overall in the season, and 13-9 in conference play. So good season for them under Coach Eden Grady. Number 2 was Cal. Last season they finished 4th at 12-10 in conference play, 16-14 in the regular season. They lost in the quarterfinals to IUP in the 2023 playoffs. Cal this season, 19-3 in conference play, 28-5, lost in the round of 32 to Charleston, were the runner-ups to the PSAC Conference Championship. KJ McClure, of course, being first team, being All-American, first team All-PSAC, first team All-Atlantic Region Player of the Year. Big season for the Morgantown, West Virginia native. Does he potentially come back for his junior season? Signs seem to be looking like that right now, but time will tell. Him and Donald Whitehead Jr. are going to be a very good duo for next season for Cal. It's going to be a tough PSAC West coming up next year, with the potentially Gannon, Cal, SRU, and IUP going to have some good lineups coming up next year. Number 1 was Gannon. They finished 8th last year in PSAC West in 22-23, going 3-19 and 3-23 in conference play. I think they started the season 0-14 last year. They were not off a good start. They get a crap ton of transfers and guys who just completely just changed into superstars overnight. Thanks to the arrival of first-year head coach Jordan Fee and his incredible offensively minded team and his ability to create talent with the magic of, we'll go with Robin Williams' genie magic, I guess we should say. Gannon goes from 3-23 last year to an unbelievable 31-3 on the season. 31-2 before losing today, so 31-3 overall in the season. 20-2 in conference play. They blow through the PSAC tournament. Their closest matchup was IUP winning by only 5 points. Blow Millersville out of the water. Beat Cal by 16 because Cal could not shoot in that game. And Gannon wins their first round matchup. Wins their first round easily against Lincoln. Cruises against West Liberty. Barely wins at the buzzer thanks to Nigel Houghton's layup, beating Charleston after coming down from 14 points down in the second half. And then Gannon today just could not get anything going in their favor, losing to Cal State San Bernardino by 34 points. But, yeah, crazy to believe. So, a lot of guys, as I said, are on the list. Cam Kearney, Bernie Blunt. So, IUP, where do they go next season? So, if you look at their roster right now, and who is on the roster right now, this is as of right now. And there's still potentially more transfer players that come, portal players that be coming soon for them. It's very thin right now. Very, very, very thin. So, of course, players that, I already talked about them through my previous post when they had unfortunately lost to Gannon. I made a post for each of the seniors that their careers basically were unfortunately over. Their careers ended with IUP, unfortunately too early, I think. But, yeah, we'll see where the road takes us now. So you take a look at their roster for next season. So I already have kind of a mapped out plan right now for the 24-25 season. Like I said, this is going to be a huge offseason coming up for IUP. They have a lot of spots to fill, and they need to try to hopefully get a big name guy in their system. Garvin Clark coming from this season was excellent for Akron, who came from Akron. So can they get another big guy like Andre Harris, who is from NDC, with their program shutting down? Cam Kearney, Bernie Blunt, or some big names. The IEP could go big name hunting this offseason. Right now, your roster looks like this. Garvin Clark is most likely their number one go-to guy next season in terms of scoring. Denzel Casabile, he missed the whole season with medical redshirt. He was a medical redshirt, missed the season. What will he look like after unfortunately not playing for a year? Dallas Stiller coming off his torn labrum injury earlier in December. What will he look like? He will most likely be back to full strength. Could he be a versatile two-way point guard like we saw earlier in the season when IUP was starting to click heading into Christmas break? Demir Brooks is still on the roster right now. Gabriel Romero Sands, the freshman from England, was the only freshman that did not see any playing time this season. Dolan Waldo has entered. Dolan Waldo was the first of 3 players to enter the transfer portal, along with Jalen Stewart, which will be the second time he has entered the transfer portal. Jordan Lambert, the freshman from Hopewell, Virginia, the Jersey kid, has entered the transfer portal. Dolan Waldo, the redshirt freshman from Bethel Park, also enters the transfer portal. Sark Furden, he had a fantastic freshman season for IUP. He was their main freshman that played a lot this season. He was a big defensive guy. Really liked what he had. He is going to be a very sneaky player coming soon. I think he's a guy that comes in as a 6th player. He's not a shooter right now, but I think he could definitely be something special coming up. But I guess we're going to find out. Man, he really has the potential. You look at his numbers right now. This was his freshman season. 7 points was his career high for right now. He finished the season with 1.6 points per game. He had 14 steals. He played 28 games, 14 minutes, 33.9% from the floor, 33.3% from 3, averaging 2.1 rebounds, 0.7 assists per game. He wasn't too bad. He's definitely going to be a guy that I think is going to be really sneaky coming into next season. I think if he can build muscle, he is a guy that I think could break out next season for IEP. I really do. I think he's a special player that IEP might want to try to keep for as long as possible. And then right now, the other guy on the roster is Callum McNamara. He's also a question mark right now. He missed basically half the season. After the new year, he basically was out the rest of the year with a concussion. He was traveling around the world. So who knows if he ends up coming back for another season. And then Anthony Watson, the good buddy with Dolan Waldo from Bethel Park, BC3 freshman. Again, he was a really good two-way defensive player I saw in his stats. Did not play at all this season. He was a red shirt and then missed the rest of the season. He had shoulder surgery. So, yeah, he's another guy that's another one of those up-in-the-air guys. But right now, again, according to reports from my buddy Brandon Pierce, who was a part of the podcast earlier this season before I just changed it due to scheduling conflicts. Reports are now saying that he has heard from GRS that he has been going back and forth with trying to get Tommy Wassalainen back in the Crimson Hawk, in the crimson and white. That would be really crucial. That would be really beneficial for IUP. Could you imagine a defensive trio of Dallas Dillard, Sartford, and T coming up next year? That would be absolutely crazy. We would have one of the best defensive trios in the country, no question about it. So, where do they go from here? Well, I guess we're going to have to just wait and see what happens, because there's just so much stuff going on coming up in the next, 7.5 months before the 24-25 season begins. I will most likely be posting throughout the summer if there's any breaking news of any players coming to IUP in the upcoming months to look forward to. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have for now. Again, good luck to all the remaining teams in the Division II tournament with 5 games left in the season. I guess it was a lot shorter of an episode than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be like an hour episode, but I guess that's not the case. So the final game between North Georgia and Texas A&M, or West Texas A&M, will be beginning shortly. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So I'll be posting throughout tonight and then the rest of the week about the Division II tournament, with the Final Four coming on Thursday and the National Championship game being on Saturday. All 3 of the remaining D2 games will be on CBS Sports Network. So good luck to the remaining teams left in the Division II tournament. We'll know the Southeastern defend its crown of winning a second national championship, or will another team surprise the Sharks and be a national champion? With that, that is it for the final episode of the 2023-24 season of the PCBC. Thank you all so much for joining me during this here tonight and through the duration of the during the duration of the season. There will be plenty more episodes to come next season. Definitely going to be more than 19 next year. There's probably going to be like 30 plus episodes, and it's going to be a lot with student teaching coming up this fall. It's definitely going to be a very busy schedule, so I will do my best to keep the same pace of scheduling whenever the season begins. But until then, this is Noah Sipauer saying so long, and thank you guys so much for joining me throughout this season, and I will see you guys next year.